Every map has a lineage, and every lineage has a keeper. The map you are about to encounter is shaped by the work of Cynthia Bourgeault, whose vision offers a contemporary Christian articulation of the ray of creation as it appears in the lineage of Gurdjieff's fourth way teachings. What you'll encounter here is not a restatement of Gurdjieff's original material, but Cynthia's distinctive redaction, one that brings the ray into dialogue with esoteric wisdom, mystical Christianity, Trinitarian metaphysics, and the lived question of conscious service in the world. In her hands, the ray becomes not merely a diagram of words, but a living story. One that asks why creation bears cost, why consciousness matters, and why we human beings, while standing at a perilous and luminous crossing point, are infinitesimally small, and yet mighty. What follows listens closely to her redaction, while allowing the map to speak through lived encounter, rather than theory alone. Any infelicities of interpretation are my own. The depth and coherence of the framework itself are owed to her work. For those drawn to go further, Cynthia's writings, especially her book, The Eye of the Heart, remains the primary doorway.
So, let's kick things off with the huge question. Is the world you see, the one right in front of you, is that all there is? Or could it be that we're living inside a much bigger, multi-layered reality? Well, this map suggests it's absolutely the second one, a kind of great chain of being, where every single realm operates under its own unique set of rules.
Now, this is really important to get right from the start. As Cynthia Bourgeault says, this map is a heuristic. Just think of it like a set of cliff notes for the entire universe. It's a practical tool, something to help us see and work with these different levels of reality. It is not, and this is key, a rigid dogma you're supposed to just believe literally.
Well, our first section here is all about building a modern bridge to this ancient wisdom, and we're going to use a concept that we can all understand: energy. A philosopher named Valentine Tomberg gives us this really useful way to look at it. He sees reality as this single, continuous stream. It starts at the top with what he calls pure consciousness, the source of everything. Then it kind of condenses into what he calls psychic energy. And this is stuff like love, will, attention. From there, it becomes the physical energy that science measures. And finally, it becomes dense, what he calls coagulated matter, which is, the physical world we see and touch every day.
Now, this idea of psychic energy is really interesting, right? We all experience these forces, but we don't usually think of them as these powerful, world-shaping energies. But think about it for a second. When you do something with real, focused attention, the result is completely different, isn't it? Love helps things grow. Strong will can literally change outcomes. These are real energies that have tangible results in the world. Okay, so with that idea of a cascading reality in our heads, let's explore a more detailed map. This one imagines a journey through these numbered worlds, where each number represents a different density, a whole different set of rules.
So this map, which comes from the work of the philosopher Gurdjieff, organizes reality into these different worlds you see here. We start at the top, World 1, the absolute, and as we move down, the number doubles each time. The key thing to get is that as the number gets bigger, the world gets denser. And not physically denser, but denser in the number of laws that govern it. So the further down you go, the more conditioned, the more mechanical everything becomes.
Okay, now before we go any further, this is a super important point. When we say world, we're not talking about a planet you can just fly off to. A world in this system is really just a set of conditions, a set of laws. And here's the key. The more laws and limitations a realm has, the denser, the more material it feels. World 1 is the Godhead. We're talking pure, inaccessible light, a consciousness so complete, so undifferentiated, that it's just utterly unknowable to us. It's the ultimate source before any form even exists. And what's wild is that this ancient idea has a pretty interesting modern parallel. Some cosmologists talk about a state of eternal inflation, a permanent creative state from which universes, like our own Big Bang, are constantly popping into existence. Now, for creation to begin, something has to shift from that pure stillness. And that's where World 3 comes in. It's like the primordial blueprint, the fundamental algorithm for all of creation. You could almost think of it as the divine operating system. It's here that the unmanifest brings itself into what's called perceptivity and divisibility. And this is the very first moment you can really speak of consciousness, which means with knowing. Because for the first time, there is a with.
But how in the world do you get a universe teeming with galaxies and stars and life from a state of pure, absolute nothing?
So to really get this, we first have to try and imagine what came before creation. Now, when you hear that, you might picture this empty, black void of space, right? But that's not it at all. This is something else entirely. Try to imagine a state of just undifferentiated unity, a smooth, infinite field of pure potential, with no up, no down, no center, and no edges.
This is a boundless, steady state. It doesn't have any built-in reason to change. It's got this powerful inertia, this deep tendency to just stay exactly as it is. Pure, simple formlessness.
And here is the absolute key. A state of perfect formlessness like this doesn't just accidentally trip and fall into becoming form. I mean, by its very nature, it has this powerful inertia to stay exactly as it is. For anything to change, you need an impulse, you need a will. Things don't just happen. Formlessness doesn't just accidentally trip and fall into becoming form. Infinity doesn't just stumble its way into becoming finite. No, for anything to arise out of that perfect unity, something has to be done. A specific condition, a deliberate act has to be introduced. So where on earth did that first impulse come from? What could possibly stir this perfect, absolute stillness?
That brings us right to the heart of the mystery, doesn't it? If this state is so perfect, so complete and stable, why would anything ever begin? I mean, why would form ever bother to arise from perfect formlessness? It's a massive question, and the answer, well, it's probably not what you're thinking.
What did it cost? What kind of force, or maybe even what kind of sacrifice, was needed to break that perfection and give birth to the messy, beautiful universe that we live in?
How do you actually get past that inertia of nothingness? Well, it turns out the answer lies in creating a kind of cosmic friction. And you know what? A scientific principle can actually help us wrap our heads around this metaphysical idea.
Imagine a huge, wide river, just flowing peacefully. It's totally calm, but it doesn't have much power. Now, what happens if you force all that water into a super narrow gorge? Suddenly, you've got incredible pressure, incredible speed, incredible energy, right? That's what happens here. This is the first act of creation. It's a compression, a tightening within the infinite, a deliberate sacrifice of stillness to create dynamism. And this one single act of compression, it immediately splits reality into two opposing forces. On one side, you've got this incredible outward pressure to become something. Let's call it the affirming will. But pushing back with just as much force is the inertia of that original unity, the pressure to stay uncreated. We'll call that the denying resistance. So you have this raw desire pushing out and this absolute impossibility pushing in.
So you've got this yes and this no pulling against each other. And right there, their interaction begins to weave the very fabric of reality, like the first threads being stretched on a great cosmic loom. But this constant pulling, this strain between the will to create and the resistance to form, it has a huge consequence. It generates immense friction, immense heat. You have to understand, this is not a gentle or easy process. It's an act of profound cosmic effort.
For creation to happen, the peace had to be broken. That perfect unity had to create a struggle, a dynamic tension inside of itself. And it's that tension that generates the energy, the very fabric needed to weave existence into being. This is the heat of creation.
And this brings us to a core, kind of startling idea. The very first light in the universe doesn't just appear out of a state of peace. No, it ignites precisely at the point of maximum tension. Peace wasn't lost by accident. It was sacrificed so that existence itself could be born.
So what happens when two titanic opposing forces grind against each other like that? You get friction. And we're not talking about a simple side effect here. This is the foundational principle. It's a kind of cosmic friction that literally becomes the engine for all of reality. It's the heat, the strain, the sheer effort that ignites, well, everything.
Okay, so we have this sustained, costly friction. Let's see what is actually born from all this effort. What is the very first stable structure to emerge? Out of all that raw tension, a fundamental pattern, an algorithm for all future creation emerges. It's often called the law of three. You have the affirming force, that yes, you have the denying force, the no, and now a third thing appears to hold them together in a dynamic relationship, the reconciling form. This is maybe the most important takeaway of the whole thing. The cost, the strain, the tension. This stuff isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's not some punishment that comes later because of a fall from grace. No, it's woven right into the fabric of reality from the very, very beginning. The price of admission for anything to exist is that it has to exist under this incredible foundational pressure. Okay, so we have this immense cosmic friction. Where does it go? What does it do? Well, it doesn't just burn out or fade away. This sustained, unresolved tension actually starts to organize itself. It crystallizes into the very first stable structure in all of existence. And that structure is what the source material calls World 3, the first true form.
It's not a physical place, but it's the fundamental dynamic pattern, the algorithm really, that makes everything else possible. It's the blueprint for everything that will ever come into existence. And check this out, this is pretty profound. The very possibility of consciousness is born right here. Think about the word itself, conscientia. It literally means with knowing. Back in the perfect unity of World 1, there was no with, there was no relationship, no other to know. It's only in this triad of World 3 that a with can even exist, and that allows for the birth of knowing, of consciousness.
But it is so important to get this. This is not a peaceful resolution. It's a structure born from strain, and it's defined by its ability to contain that strain without shattering. It doesn't get rid of the tension, it makes the tension stable and productive. So this first form becomes the enduring blueprint for everything that comes after. It's luminous from the friction that made it, it's stable enough to hold itself together, and it is forever burden-bearing. What this tells us is that cost and friction and tension, they aren't bugs in the system, they are intrinsic to the very heart of reality. Thinking this way completely reframes our most basic understanding of how the world works. It shifts us away from a logic of simple opposition to something far more dynamic, far more creative.
We tend to see the world in dualities, right? On or off, good or bad, for or against. But this primordial algorithm suggests that at its very core, reality isn't a battle of opposites. It's a generative threeness. Tension isn't something to be abolished. It's the actual fuel for creation.
That first movement from World 1 to World 3 is what Gurdjieff called the law of world creation. It's the initial shock that kicks off the whole ray of creation, this incredible cosmic cascade that projects existence out into more and more dense and complex worlds, all of them built on that original three-part template.
Okay, now we are getting to a really fascinating part of the map. We're about to look at two incredibly powerful, creative realms. But these aren't just steps on a ladder. No, they're described as completely different geometries of vastness. They shape our reality in ways that are profoundly, fundamentally different.
Welcome to World 6, the Logoic Realm.
I want you to think of this as the headwaters of creation, a torrent of pure creative energy, or Eros, that just flows out to bring everything into being.
This is the first massive leap into outward manifestation. The Big Bang, it happens right here. This place is pure, raw, untempered creative force. It's wild, it's intelligent, it's compulsively creative, but it's also fierce and totally apersonal. It's just pure cause and effect in motion.
And this quote just captures its nature perfectly. World 6 has this presence that feels like being held in a direct, unblinking gaze. It's not warm, it's not reassuring in any human sense. It is exact, immense, and completely faithful to the order it creates.
It's a care so deep that our emotional system doesn't even recognize it as care anymore.
World 6 is precise, it's geometric, it's silent. It's not inhuman, but it's transhuman. Its creativity isn't expressed as beauty in the way we think of it, but as pure, unmediated order.
It's operating on a scale that is just way beyond our personal wants and needs.
Now, let's shift to World 12, the Christic realm. And wow, what a shift it is. If World 6 is that pure, untempered fire, World 12 is like the lens that diffuses that intensity. This is where the laws of reality fundamentally change. It's not about pure causality anymore. Now it's about embodied love. This realm acts as a kind of safe bridge, letting us connect with those higher worlds without getting totally fried by their raw power.
This is the world of Bodhisattva consciousness, that enlightened compassion that acts as a bridge between the divine and the human, letting that highest love flow to us safely and profoundly.
We can get a taste of this realm through devotion, when our hearts are so moved by love or beauty that it brings us to tears. And this is just such a beautiful way to put it. It's a love that has immense power, yeah, but it's a power that's expressed with so much tenderness that it can touch the most delicate thing in all of creation without destroying it. It's a love that kind of shelters us from the raw, untempered face of the divine. And that right there is the key. The vastness of World 12 is always measured against us. It's huge, it's overwhelming from our point of view for sure, but it stays relational. It's a vastness that still recognizes you, that holds you, that speaks the language of your humanity. So on one side, we have World 12. This is the Christic realm. It's relational, it's gentle, it's all about embodied love. A good way to think of it is the sun. Then on the other side, you have World 6, the Logoic realm. This is fierce. It's a transhuman force of pure causality. For this one, think bigger. Think of the entire galaxy. This quote just nails the difference in scale. If World 12 is the sun, bright, warm, central to our experience, then World 6 is the entire Milky Way. It operates on a scale so immense that our sun, our entire frame of reference for World 12, just becomes irrelevant. It's not even a useful comparison anymore. And that's the second geometry of vastness. See, World 6 isn't vast relative to us, it's vast relative to existence itself. It just doesn't operate on a human scale. It doesn't need us as a frame of reference to make sense. It just is. I mean, just listen to that. This is such a stunning concept. In this realm, questions like, can this happen? Is this possible? They become totally meaningless. The field of pure potential is so powerful that our human ideas of what's possible and impossible just dissolve. You don't need reassurance because the very laws of limitation are gone. Okay, so as this cascade continues, we're bringing this huge cosmic map down from these heavenly realms right into the worlds of our everyday human consciousness and experience. World 24 is known as the imaginal realm. Some traditions call it the kingdom of heaven. It's the world of presence, where an awakened individual can stand right at that junction point between the visible and the invisible. From here, they can infuse our denser reality with life-giving energy from the worlds above. And, this is where we start to realize that our own consciousness actually has a part to play in the ongoing act of creation.
Consciousness here isn't just about thinking and being rational, it's fully awake. It's three-centered, which means the mind, the emotions, and the body are all working together in perfect harmony. It's a state where a person can reliably connect with and act from a much deeper wisdom, guided by those higher realms you saw on the map.
So, where do we fit into all this? I mean, where are we living? Well, this next section grounds this entire map in our present-day experience. And trust me, this is where things get really recognizable. Okay, so World 48. This is our world at its absolute best. It's the world of culture, of reasoned debate, of thoughtful journalism. It's the great universities, the arts, the sciences. It's the natural home of democracy and the principles of the Enlightenment. It's where we use our minds to build bridges and try to understand each other.
But, and this is a huge but, here's the twist. Within this whole framework, for all its glory, our world is considered to be fundamentally asleep. The source material calls it Prospero's castle, something totally enchanting and seductive, but in the end, just a mirage, an illusion. But what we're really focusing on today is the connection between our world and the one right next door, World 24. So, if our world is asleep, what separates it from the next level up? Well, the source material talks about a very clear boundary, like a shock line, a great divide between our World 48 and the next one, World 24. Yeah, and this is the key. Crossing that line isn't just like, hopping on a plane to a different country. It's a total fundamental shift in the very fabric of reality. You're literally leaving one set of physical and metaphysical laws behind and stepping into a world that plays by a completely different rulebook. So what exactly are these different laws? Just how deep does this rabbit hole go? Let's put them side by side and really dig in. Okay, this table right here, this is basically the Rosetta Stone for understanding these two worlds. It shows the 10 main differences, and they are huge. You can see we go from linear time to something called radial time, from a separate self to a holographic one, from a world of decay to one of pure energy. It's a lot to take in, so let's break down 3 of the most important ones. First up, time. In our world, World 48, it's pretty simple, right? It's a straight line. Past is behind us, future is ahead. One thing happens after another. But in World 24, time is radial. Now, what does that mean? Imagine a wheel. The center hub is the present moment, and every single point on the wheel, past, present, future, is all there at the same time, connected to that center. It's not a sequence. It's a simultaneous, unified now. Okay, next up is the very logic of how we see the world. Our World 48 is built on either or. Things are good or bad, right or wrong, on or off. It's a world defined by separation. But in World 24, that all melts away into what's called non-duality. Suddenly, opposites aren't fighting each other anymore. They're just two sides of the same coin, You can't have light without dark. They're both part of one bigger, unified whole. And this might be the biggest difference of all. Our world, our entire physical universe, runs on entropy. That's the scientific law that says everything falls apart. Things break down, decay, move from order to chaos. The universe is slowly winding down. But World 24, it's the complete opposite. It's counter-entropic. It's driven by a force that builds things up, that organizes, that creates. So while one world is fundamentally moving toward death, the other is constantly, endlessly moving toward more life. It's a game changer.
But there is a very slippery slope down to World 96. And this comparison just lays it out so starkly. You see World 48 building bridges, and World 96, well, the bridge is collapsing. In World 96, real thinking gets replaced by slogans and sound bites. Thoughtful debate turns into polarized turf wars. And ideas, they become weapons. And here's the crucial point. So many of us feel like we are living through this exact devolution. We've literally watched our culture slide from one of thoughtful engagement to one that's dominated by autopilot reactions, by polarization, and just constant distraction. A world that maybe can't even sustain the promise of democracy anymore.
And at the very bottom of the scale, you have World 192. This is described as a realm of collective psychosis. It's where things become so dense, so nonsensical, that society itself can just break down. Civility is completely lost, and things can spiral into mutual destruction for what seems like no reason at all.
As you can see from this chart, that core principle becomes so clear visually. Every time we descend, from 48 to 96, and then down again to 192, the number of those laws or conditions multiplies. The realms just get heavier, more restrictive, and more mechanical.
The descent from the silent order of World 6 to the relational warmth of World 12, it's not a fall from grace, it's a change in the operating system. You see, World 6 operates under very few laws, which allows for that pure, unmediated order. But as we move down to World 12, more laws, more conditions are introduced, and these added laws are exactly what create the possibility for qualities like mercy and compassion and relationship to even exist. It's a more mediated, a more tailored expression of the divine, one that can safely meet us on our own human terms.
Okay, so this isn't just some abstract cosmic thought experiment, right? This whole distinction between an asleep world and an awake one has massive implications for us, for what it actually means to be a human being. And our job at this threshold has a name, the Great Exchange. Now, this isn't about personal growth or just finding your bliss. It's way bigger than that. It's a cosmic function. Our task is to consciously repair the flow of energy between these two worlds, a flow that, if we don't step in, just breaks.
This choice isn't just about being a good or bad person. It scales up. The idea here is that our individual transformations, our inner work, actually matter to the entire universe. We're not just spectators, we are part of this vast, interconnected cosmic system. And that system has a name. It's a mouthful, the Trogo-Auto-Egocrat. I know it sounds super complicated, but the concept is actually pretty simple. Just think of it like a universal law of cosmic ecology. Everything eats and everything gets eaten. Everything consumes energy and in turn gets consumed by something else. It's a grand, reciprocal exchange that keeps the whole universe running. Absolutely nothing goes to waste.
So the big question is, how does this exchange actually work across that boundary? Well, you can think of it like two currents flowing in opposite directions. One flowing down, from the imaginal to the physical, and one flowing up, from the physical back to the imaginal. So this downward flow, this is what gives our world its structure, its very life. It's like, imagine a blueprint, or a stream of pure intelligence, flowing down from that higher level. It's what organizes all the raw stuff of our world into the complex, living things we see all around us. Seriously, without this constant infusion of pattern, the physical world would just be, well, chaos.
But for any metabolism to work, it can't just be a one-way street, right? Something has to go back. And here's the problem. The raw energy of our physical experience, our gut reactions, our base emotions, it's just too heavy, you could say. It's too coarse to make that journey back up. It has to be transformed, refined into something much, much finer.
So take a look at this diagram from the source material. It's basically a map of cosmic creation. And see right here, this gap between me, which represents our planet Earth, and Fa, the planetary realm above us, this is described as a shock point, kind of an unstable passageway. It's right here that higher, finer energies are trying to come down, and lower, raw energies are trying to go back up. And this passage, this transfer point, well, that's exactly where humanity is. And that's the big problem right there. The connection, the very passage that we are supposed to be holding open, is incredibly fragile. Without a very specific kind of effort on our part, it gets clogged up and the whole system starts to fail.
So at this critical juncture, we face a pretty stark choice, and it leads to two totally different outcomes. And it's a choice that ancient wisdom captured in this really powerful, almost startling metaphor. This little cryptic line from the Gospel of Thomas really lays out the whole thing. It gives us two paths at this threshold, one where we integrate our primal nature, and another where it completely takes us over. So let's break that down. When the man devours the lion, it means our consciousness manages to digest and integrate all that raw, fiery animal energy inside us. The result? It's an upward transformation. We serve a higher purpose. But when the lion devours the man, our raw, instinctual nature just consumes everything. Our consciousness becomes nothing more than a clever tool for our own rage and appetites. And that is a downward spiral. That's devolution. So, the million-dollar question is, How do we make sure the man devours the lion? How do we consciously navigate all this friction?
And just to be clear, this is not about just, thinking nice thoughts or meditating once in a while.
It takes a kind of inner alchemy, and that alchemy requires two very specific tools.
Okay, tool number one is called conscious labor. And a good way to think about it is like radical mindfulness on steroids. It's that intentional, moment-to-moment effort to swim upstream against the current of your own autopilot. It's about noticing you're having a reaction instead of just being the reaction. It's the work of staying present when your mind is dying to wander off. Basically, it's the fight to get off of autopilot. Yeah, the second tool, this one's even more challenging. It's called intentional suffering. And right away, let me be clear, this has nothing to do with self-pity or stupid suffering, the kind that comes from our own frustrated ego. No, this is about willingly and consciously choosing to carry a piece of suffering, like bearing with someone else's negativity without reacting, or facing a hard truth about yourself without making excuses, and doing it not for yourself, but for the sake of the whole. It's a way to actively reverse our deepest programming, which is to just avoid pain at all costs.
It's about learning to bear the felt pressure of reality, that intense tension you feel when you're holding opposing forces together and not immediately trying to run away from it.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, step one is just to bear the pressure. That's it, to let yourself feel the tension, the grief, the frustration, without trying to push it away. Then step two is to resist the discharge. You know that immediate urge to react, or to distract yourself with your phone, or to just check out? Resisting that. Step three is to sustain presence, to stay aware right in that uncomfortable spot where your old habits would normally just take over. And if you can do that, you get to step four. You actually generate new life. You create a new, finer quality of energy from all that friction, and that's what restores the circulation. And what are these finer substances we're creating? Well, they're things we know by other names, right? Peace, gentleness, love, patience, joy. But in this framework, they're not just nice feelings or personality traits. They are seen as actual cosmic substances, real food for the higher realms, generated through our conscious work right here on Earth. This inner work, this conscious effort, it's not just for our own personal benefit. It is the very thing that gets the great exchange working again. It's what allows our dense physical lives to feed the imaginal realm, and in turn, allows the imaginal to breathe new life back into the physical. We've talked before about how the cosmos came to be, this idea that it was forged out of a kind of necessary creative friction, because that original tension, the strain that sparked the first light in the universe, it never went away. It's just reappeared, only now it's much, much closer to home. It's happening inside you. So we're not talking about some new principle here. This is the return of something ancient. The exact same cosmic law that gave birth to worlds is now playing out on a human scale. And listen, this isn't just some poetic idea. The anguish, the pressure we feel in our own lives is a direct echo of that original world-creating force. The story we usually hear is that everything was perfect until we, humanity, showed up and broke everything. But what if that's getting it backwards? Some mystical traditions offer a way more radical idea, that the struggle, the friction, all the hard stuff, isn't a mistake we made. It's literally the price of admission for anything to exist at all. Deep inside this infinite potential, there was a kind of divine knowing, a sense that to fully express itself, to really understand its own potential, it had to interact with something finite. In other words, the infinite needed the finite to truly know itself. So this reframes everything. On the one side, you have the common myth. A perfect world was made and then humanity messed it up. But on the other side, there's a much deeper truth. Existence itself carries a cost, and that cost is paid by all of reality. Suffering isn't a penalty for bad behavior. It's the unavoidable shadow that's cast by the light of creation.
This cost is absolutely fundamental. It has nothing to do with human error or some moral failing. It's woven right into the physics of reality itself, into that cosmic tension between the finite and the infinite. Well, this is where we get to the incredible alchemy at the very heart of the universe. This mystical quote from the Islamic tradition gives us a huge clue. The idea here is that the source of everything contained this hidden potential, this treasure. And for that treasure to be fully real, to be truly known, it had to project itself outward into the world of creation. So what is that treasure? It's agape, or what we might call unconditional love. But here's the mind-blowing twist. This love isn't a pre-existing quality of God or the universe. It is an alchemical product. It's like pure gold that has to be spun and created through the difficult, often painful dance of existence. It has to be made. So the whole transformation starts with Eros, the energy that animates all of creation, the energy that flows through us. This is that raw, instinctual craving, that deep fire of desire. And get this, it's the exact same affirming force that sparked the universe into being. It's powerful, it's creative, and it is totally unrefined. So what do you do with all that fire? You don't just let it run wild. The next step, the crucial step, is an act called kenosis. It's a Greek word that means a willing self-emptying, a conscious surrender. It's the alchemical move of taking that raw energy and intentionally offering it back up, choosing to refine it instead of just being driven by it. Through this alchemical process, that hungry desire gets transformed into agape, an outward giving, totally selfless love. The pain of wanting is literally transformed into the fulfillment of giving. And here is the incredible payoff. That thing we call true conscious love, agape, it's not a given. It doesn't just exist out there for us to find. It is an alchemical product. It has to be made. It is born only when that raw fire of Eros is consciously put through the furnace of kenosis. This is where an archetype like the Christic model becomes so important. It's not there to abolish the painful rules of the game. It's there to validate them. It shows a path of voluntary self-offering, kenosis, not passive victimhood. It's a living demonstration that this higher transfigured love can, in fact, be forged in the very heart of suffering.
And this is where it all comes home. This is where we come in. Because this huge cosmic drama, it's not just some abstract theory about the universe. It's happening right now inside each and every one of us. Plain and simple, that's our purpose. We are the alchemical vessels. We are uniquely positioned right at the crossroads of the finite and the infinite to do this work of transformation. And it's not just a nice idea or an invitation. It's our cosmic responsibility.
The purpose of our work, our struggles, our entire lives, it's to consciously participate in this great cosmic alchemy. It is to help heal the necessary fracture that allowed us to exist. And in doing so, we transform that cost into consciousness. We turn that fire into light. You know, Jacob Boehme just sums up this entire cosmic journey so beautifully. All things begin in fire and end in light. It starts with the raw, messy, chaotic fire of creation and desire. And through our conscious work, our offering, it can end in the coherent, conscious, generated light of love.
So, this is our task, to consciously choose to evolve, to voluntarily step up and pay the price of being here. And this means we have to risk what the source material calls the immolation of our wills, basically letting go of our small, fearful ego, so that we can perform that sacred alchemy of turning the fire of craving into the light of love.
So at the end of the day, we're right back where we started, with a choice. In the great exchange, what's your contribution going to be? Will you be consumed by the lion of your own mechanical nature, or will you consciously consume that lion and transform its fire into something higher, something more?
The fruits of taking this conscious path, they're just immense. This work forges a stable inner self, something you might even call a soul. It releases a type of energy that actually works against decay and chaos in the world. And in the beautiful, poetic language of this tradition, it helps to lighten the sorrow of that universal creative force that has to bear the tension of all existence.